The following is a presentation by Chalk DIY No Sore.
I got these triangular pieces that got two of them for each corner. I'm gonna put this in the corner, one in the top, one in the bottom. I'm gonna fill it up with triangular shaped insulation. Then I'm gonna tack the trim to the triangles, probably with some brads, some tacks, brad gun. Thing that shoots little nails. This thing, 18 gauge brad nailer. 18 gauge brad nailer. That square right there, it's hip to be square, baby. The trim frames are done. These are for the bass traps that I'm putting in the corner. Replacing the lumpy ones that have been in service since 2015. Time I make a nicer looking pair. And so I'm gonna staple fabric to the back. So it'll just be a smooth fabric face with wood trim around it, which I'm going to sand and stain. Then I'm gonna tack the trim to the triangles. 18 gauge brad nailer. This is how I work now, one-handed, because I'm so addicted to vaping. Can't put it down. I don't think it really matters if this is smooth, but I can't not care about the smoothness of this finish. It really doesn't, I don't think it's gonna matter. This is just gonna be in the corner. It's probably gonna be covered up with other gear, but I want it to be smooth. This is a part that I did not anticipate time-wise, is the finishing part. Because it requires sanding, and then you gotta put the stain on, let that dry, then put a layer of polyurethane on and let that dry, and then sand it, and then put another coat on and do that like 3 times. I recently switched to a water-based stain and water-based polyurethane. Less fumes, so I can do it inside, and it dries faster, a lot faster. So I can put another coat on this, go upstairs and work on something for an hour and come back and it'll be dry. And then I can start putting the fabric on, and then I can get it mounted. This has been on the list for a long time, real long time. Bass traps staring me in the face on my to-do list. Never a priority, always something I want to do. Finally, I'm caught up enough with other stuff that I can work on this. You gotta pull the fabric tight so you don't get a wrinkle. Just like that. And you staple. And the cardboard provides a consistent edge for the fabric to pull against, so that you don't get stretch around where the staples are. Stretch mark, it's one consistent edge, because I get the cardboard strip. So hopefully this will work out. Now on my bass traps, on the square ones I made, the panels, I actually pulled the fabric a bit too tight, and you can see this, it looks like somebody who's wearing pants that are too small. The seams are straining. So I don't want that, but I do want it to be tight and smooth. So here we go. Last couple staples. All right, then I gotta trim the fabric, but this is what it looked like. Now we gotta do maybe the most tedious, least fun part. You gotta put the fabric onto the frame. So once again, I'm using this cardboard strip to get a clean attachment point and clean straight edge for this fabric, so that hopefully there won't be any wrinkles, because that would annoy me. I have had my last bass traps, they had some wrinkles, and I look at them every day. It starts to get annoying because you want it to be smooth. Sure, I like texture with a lot of things. With fabric on an acoustic panel, I want it to be smooth. All right, then I gotta trim the fabric, but this is what it looks like. That's a fabric right there. And it looks smooth, so we're good to go. I'm using the wall. Instead of building a triangular frame, I'm just using the wall. Then I'm gonna put trim on to make it appear as if it's a unit. It's a built-in. Probably could have just tacked this in. I'm probably overkill with these deck screws. Now, it's triangular base. Gonna go on like that. Put the insulation up. I'm gonna have another triangle up top. It's gonna be supported by two pieces of wood. Put the insulation in, and then I attach the trim that has the fabric on it with 18 gauge brad nails. 18 gauge brad nailer. Oh yeah, this is the fun part right here. Last triangle, baby. There we go. That's the fun part. Okay. I gotta put these upstairs, put them in the triangle frame I have up there, and then put the trim on with 18 gauge brad nails. Brad nailer. Hit a bunch of unforeseen snags as usual, but we worked through them. There's one more thing that I gotta figure out. Somehow, like, something's not level. I gotta put something somewhere to deal with the level. So here's what we got. Okay, I got these two triangular top and bottom caps secured to the wall. I'm gonna fill it up with the triangular insulation that I just cut, and then I'm going to attach trim that has fabric on it onto this top and bottom 3/4 inch plywood triangles. I had this weird, protrusion coming out of this wall from some kind of patch job from before. So I had to cut that contour out from this, perfectly triangular triangle. And in order to measure that, I finally got to use this tool, which is like a contour gauge. And you basically just flatten all these things out, and then you smush it against the contour, and then it gives you the curve, and you trace that onto the wood, and then I cut it out with a jigsaw. I ran into a problem where it wasn't gonna fit. It just couldn't clear the thing I already have mounted on the wall there. It's so close. So I had to take a jigsaw and cut a 45. It's very lumpy, as you can see. I couldn't figure out a way to get a straight edge to cut against, so I had to freehand it. Well, I don't know if I had to, but I couldn't figure out a better way. So I freehanded it, so it's kind of lumpy, but I knew that it wasn't really gonna matter that much because it's gonna be right up against the edge of this beige panel right here. So nobody's ever gonna see it. Holly freaking Luya. Finally finished both the base traps. I got the big boy in the corner. That's a 24 by 24 by 33 or something inch. Pretty much floor to as high as I could make it till the ceiling stops. Oh man, hit so many complications. Tried to make it as easy and minimal as possible, and still so many complications. And then here's the other corner. But they're done. And those have been on my list forever. And I've had the plans to make those forever and just haven't had the time. And now I do. So, pretty pumped. Hope it tightens up the base of my room. They definitely look better than the old ones. The good and lumpies. The good and lumpies were the first acoustic treatment I made, and they served me well for the last 10 years. It's time for, you know, a more refined bass trap design. So, next up, this ceiling cloud, there's enough room for me to put another layer of Knauf Ecose rigid insulation board up top above my desk. So hopefully in my mixing position, things are going to be very tight. And then, you know, this whole side of the room with the drums, it's pretty untreated. I have some random panels laying around, but probably going to give those to my brother Nick. And then I'm going to probably try to build something into the walls, you know, like, I don't know yet, actually. I don't know if I'm going to go panel or if I'm going to go build a frame on the wall and then stuff the frame and do trim like that. I don't know if that was necessarily easier or not. Bass, 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 bass.